As we've started to establish, there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to hydration. So estimating your own sweat rate can be a really helpful part of the process of figuring out how much and what you need to drink during exercise. Sweat rates vary considerably from athlete to athlete, and how much a person sweats can also be influenced by things like how hard they're working, their clothing choices, genetics, the ambient temperature and humidity, and how acclimatized they are to those conditions. So, ideally, you should measure your sweat rate in a range of conditions and on a number of occasions to get a better idea of your likely hydration needs in different scenarios. We've adapted Asker Jukendrup's excellent sweat rate calculator to provide a handy guide on how to get a fairly accurate idea of your own sweat rate. You'll need 3 pieces of equipment to do this: an accurate set of weighing scales, a dry towel, and a kitchen scale for weighing your water bottles. Our guide uses the metric system, so if you're using imperial measurements like pounds and fluid ounces, you'll just need to convert the data you collect into kilograms and litres using Google. To make the calculations really easy, you can add all of your data into the downloadable spreadsheet that accompanies this video. This sheet will help you work out a percentage body weight loss figure for your session and estimate your sweat rate in litres per hour. Okay, so let's get started. Step 1. Go for a pee and then record your body weight, ideally with no clothes on. Step 2. Weigh your drinks bottles before you start training. Step 3. Perform your session, preferably with clothes on so as not to get arrested or upset your fellow athletes. Step 4. After you're done, weigh your bottles again and record the difference in their weight before and after the session to calculate how much you drank. Step 5. Towel yourself dry and then record your body weight, ideally with no clothes on, as your kit will hold some sweat. Step 6. Now subtract your post-exercise weight from your pre-exercise weight to calculate what you lost while exercising. Step 7. You're now ready to calculate your sweat rate. Add your weight loss to the volume of fluid you consumed and then divide this by the duration of your session in minutes. Ideally, you wouldn't pee during the session, as this can skew the results. But if you've got to go, you've got to go. And if that's the case, it's fair to assume a fluid loss of about 300 millilitres per bathroom stop. You can simply subtract this from your estimated sweat rate at the end. Now you have an idea of your sweat rate in the conditions that you trained in. But what do these numbers mean in practice? A 2017 paper by Lindsay Baker looked at sweat rate data from 500 athletes and found that sweat rates varied from about 0.5 litres per hour to just over 2.5 litres per hour. Based on data and our experiences here at Precision Hydration, anything around 1 to 1.5 litres per hour should be considered a moderate sweat rate for a healthy adult taking part in prolonged exercise of reasonable intensity. Anything less than 1 litre per hour would be considered low, and anything above 2 litres per hour is definitely on the high side. Remember that an individual's body weight and size factors into this to a degree. So, if you're a tiny female distance runner, but you're sweating 1.5 litres per hour, that might be considered a very high sweat rate for you personally. On the flip side, the exact same rate of loss would be deemed quite low for a 6'11", 330-pound offensive lineman in the NFL, but you get the general idea. Sweat rate is an important part of the hydration equation, but it's still just one part. If you're exercising for a long time, you'll also need to consider how much salt you're losing in your sweat. We'll cover how to get an understanding of your sweat sodium concentration in the next module, and after that, we'll move on to discuss how to use the data you're collecting in this chapter to personalise and refine your hydration strategy.